Welcome to RiskWatch. I'm Jonathan Ferguson. When it comes to figuring out how long to retain all the various records and documents you deal with on a daily basis, it can be easy to fall into one of two camps: the keep everything forever camp or the get rid of everything once you're done with it camp. Both of those extremes can present risks, but how do you find safe ground in the middle? Jane Pannier of AffirmX is here to show you how to better manage your institution's record retention. Jane?
Thanks, Jonathan. When it comes to financial records, you don't want to suddenly discover that you didn't keep a document you need or were required to retain. Unfortunately, determining how long to keep your documents and records can be very challenging. There are relatively few records and documents that have federal retention requirements written into the code or statute. In the absence of specific regulatory requirements, you'll want to look to guidelines or best practices as your basis. For example, the military lending rule doesn't include any record retention requirements. However, the best practice recommendation or industry guideline that's emerged is to retain documentation for covered loans that demonstrate that you provided the MAPR statement and verified the applicant's military status and that the MAPR did not exceed permissible limits for the life of the loan. Regulation P, which implements the Privacy of Consumer Information Act, also doesn't include any specific record retention requirements. Here, the guidance or best practice that has emerged is to retain evidence that you provided the required disclosures at least through your next exam cycle. Then there are statutes like the Truth in Savings Act, which states that required disclosures and examples of advertisements be retained for a minimum of 24 months. However, just to make things more complicated, there's Regulation B, the Equal Credit Opportunity Act, which requires that notices, credit applications, and the documents relied on for credit decisions be kept for a minimum of 25 months. If you're in charge of managing records at your financial institution, you may think that the best way to cover all your bases is to simply keep everything forever. While this may seem like a good idea, it can significantly increase costs and may actually increase risk, as old files sometimes are more prone to get lost in the shuffle and possibly fall into the wrong hands. The best way to manage record retention is to create and abide by a sound record retention policy. Your record retention policy should take into account both federal and state record retention requirements. Sometimes a state regulation may require you to keep a record longer than a federal regulation or vice versa. When this happens, use the longer of the two. Also, keep litigation in mind. If your institution is going through litigation or if you expect that litigation might occur, you'll have to place a litigation hold on all applicable records. This would mean that you would need to keep all relevant records, even if it were time to get rid of some, until the litigation is over. Finding out that you didn't comply with a record retention requirement is a much bigger hassle than putting in a little extra time and effort to making sure you understand record retention requirements. Creating and following a sound record retention policy will also go a long way to ensuring your customer and member data stay safe.
Thanks, Jane. To learn more about record retention or for information on AdviseX's record retention schedule, please visit riskinbox.com/resources. I'm Jonathan Ferguson for RiskWatch. Thanks for watching.